Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, We're the Movie Couple. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And this is our non-spoiler review for Shazam 2, Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Shazam!
Billy Batson and his fellow foster kids are still learning how to juggle the teenage life with their superhero powers. When the Sisters of Atlas arrives on Earth, they must prepare for battle for the fate of the world. Alright, so we're back with the second installment of Shazam, also directed by David F. Sandberg. So I feel like this movie, first of all, it's non-spoilers. If you have watched the trailer. Does that make sense? Some people don't like to watch the trailer, so if you don't want to watch the trailer, I don't know if you'll find our review to be spoiler-free because we will refer to the trailer. What I like about this one is obviously getting to see Billy Batson and family, essentially.
Yeah, that's actually the big appeal about this movie, is just seeing the Shazam family coming back together, and you just want to hang out with these guys because that's kind of the whole appeal of the previous movie, is just these kids having superpowers.
And what they've tacked on with this one is actually, it's like much, much bigger than the first, is because enter the Sisters of Atlas. So we've got Helen, Mirren, and we've got Lucy Liu, and they are on Earth with a vengeance because they have lost their power, they've lost their realm essentially, and they have come to seek that power to get it back, and they're pretty ruthless in doing so. Yeah,
Lucy Liu definitely brought the ruthlessness in this role, and it's cool to see them as villains now.
Yeah, Helen Mirren, who was like, honestly,
she's really intense. I like how she does it.
She's pretty intense, and then Lucy Liu brings what's interesting. Like, Lucy Liu brings another element of, like, kind of mean to it that I love because I don't feel like she gets to do that too often. But Helen Mirren, who plays Hespera, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, and she has the power of, like, she controls the element, while Lucy's character, Calypso, controls, like, the power of chaos. And when we say chaos, she really is, like, the one that is, like, like, Helen Mirren does her thing too, but I feel like Calypso really throws things into chaos. And she creates a lot more trouble for the Shazam family. So I kind of want to talk about the Shazam family a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you talked about the appeal of getting to see, Billy and Freddy and Eugene and Mary and everybody getting to do, like, learning their powers and having their own individual struggles and how they coexist as a family. And that was really a lot of fun to watch, and especially with Billy struggling with, like, being the foster system and the whole issue with his mom. I feel like this one, obviously some time has passed, and so he has been adopted into the family. But for some reason, I feel like there's a little bit less of the family, which I guess it is a part of the plot for this one.
Yeah.
Where everybody they're growing up a little bit, so they're all wanting to find individual times. Like, Mary's busy with this, Freddy's busy with that, Eugene's got this, Pedro's got that, Darla's got this. So I get it, but I miss that element a lot more, and I felt like I still didn't really feel satisfied by the end, that I didn't get to have as much of a family element as I did in the first one.
Yeah, and fortunately, though, they did have one thing that really they sticked very well, and that's Freddy. I have to admit, in the first movie, Freddy was kind of a fan favorite, and they did a really good job on bringing him back, attaching you to his character. He was in it almost more
than Asher Angel.
Yeah, and also he was in it more than any of the other Shazams.
Yes.
So, and plus there's something very relatable with him. He's a huge nerd, and he gets beat up a lot. But the thing is, though, he always gets back up, and he always has a snide remark. He always is like, well, I'm not going to be able to beat you physically, but I'm going to make sure that you feel stupid and that you look stupid for beating me up. I know you're going to punch me for saying that, but you look stupid doing it.
That's what we liked about Jack Dylan Grazer's performance in the first one. It's very natural. The interaction between him and Asher Angel, or him and, like, between Freddy and Billy, was something to watch for in the first film. I really don't feel like I got as much of that in this one.
Yeah.
Asher almost takes a backseat to his own character, which I feel like it should have... Yes, it's called Shazam, but Billy is Shazam. So I feel like somehow it was just, like, more Zachary Levi. And I want to talk a little bit about... So we have Adam Brody playing the Shazam version of Freddy.
Yeah.
Right? But Adam did a really, really fantastic job of emulating Freddy. Like, and these little, like, gestures that Jack made into Freddy. And I felt that across the board with all the characters from the first movie. For the second one, I felt it less with the Zachary, Levi, and Asher Angel. I felt like they were kind of portraying the same character yet different at the same time, but they're supposed to be the same person.
Yeah,
I didn't feel the connection.
Yeah, I really did feel that in the movie, Billy Batson does grow up a bit. However, Shazam didn't. He kind of stayed the same kind of immature, oh, I'm a kid with superpowers. But yet, Billy Batson had grown. He had expanded. He had matured a little bit. But when he shifted into Shazam, he was not like that at all.
Yeah.
And I felt like like what you said, Wendy, is that there was a little bit of a disconnect between those two characters, even though technically they are the same character. And I felt like they relied a little bit more, a little too much on Shazam's jokes of, oh, I'm doing this because this is what a kid would do with superpowers. But it didn't quite connect as well as the first one. I still enjoyed it, don't get me wrong.
It's still a really fun movie, and the action pieces are actually even... So it's like, there's less like fight choreography action sequences in that way, but there's still action because it's called Fury of the Gods, and the Sisters of Atlas is bringing that to this movie. So we have a lot more other elements. In the trailer, we got to see a dragon. So the dragon plays a major part in this movie, and it is huge. It is like we were talking about how it's bigger. That's one of the ways of how they made it bigger. But with that said, I still had a lot of fun with this one. I just felt that at some points, it felt a little bit more exposition heavy, and the pacing for me kind of lost steam about halfway through the film, and it really picked up bottom of the third act, I will say, but it felt like it dragged on, where I felt like in the first movie it just was a really steady pace and it was moving forward and I was moving with it. This one I found myself feeling a little bit bored at some points.
Yeah, I do have to admit that around that second act, it does get a little convoluted to where you're like, wait a second, how exactly does this work? I'm not quite sure. If there are moments that you're kind of like, oh, they kind of just put that in there because they needed to get to a certain point. And I just feel like they didn't quite hit the nail on the head with a lot of the jokes and the structure and the pacing around the end of the second, beginning of the third act. But then once they finally get into that third act and the action scene is going, there was something in the third act, I'm not going to spoil it at all, that was, they definitely got a, what is that called? Kind of like Budweiser in Transformers, Marlboro and Superman. There was definitely a big market placement thing in this movie. Product placement, thank you.
Yeah.
And they multiple times hit you over the head with it to where you're kind of like, okay, they're going to be bringing out a branded version of 100%.
This. You're going to see it in supermarkets as of this weekend. I feel like it'd be a missed opportunity because they definitely leaned into that in the film.
Something else that they did that I really wish they would have done a little bit more on was explore the whole Eternal Rock area. I liked some of the things that they were going into, like the room with the many doors from the first one. I loved some of the hidden things that they just barely touched the surface on. And I was like, ooh, I think that'd be so cool to expand this a little more. And instead of spending so much time on some of the other exposition that they did, spend a little bit more time on the exploration of this Rock of Eternity.
Yeah.
Because that seems really, really fun. And really, really cool. But of course, it does leave room for them to do that in the next movie, because they do leave it at the end of this, of Shazam 2, for a Shazam 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out what happens. But right now, DC, is completely up in the air.
Yeah,
we don't
so
know
we're not
exactly
sure.
who's going to be coming back. But it seems like they are planning to bring this back.
Yeah, and I honestly wouldn't mind a third Shazam movie because I really enjoy these characters, and I think there's still definitely stories left to tell at the end by the time we get to the end of this movie. So I still had a lot of fun with it. I connected with the first one more, but I feel like the second movie, first of all, it deserves to be watched with an audience because there is a lot of moments in there where the experience is amplified when you watch with an audience, where you sure laugh, a chuckle, or a cheer. So those are always a lot of fun. So Shazam! Fury of the Gods is definitely one to be seen in theaters. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and move into our rating. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Sure. Overall, I thought this movie was fun. There was a lot of good parts in it. I do believe that they kind of hit the humor a little too much in this, and they tried to make the whole, kids with superpowers a little too over the top. However, I still had fun. I still like the relationships. I'm going to give this a check it out.
My rating is also the same. It is a check it out because I do think that it deserves to be seen on the big screen with an audience. I really wish that Asher Angel had more screen time as Billy, and I really missed seeing the dynamic specifically between him and Jack because I think they have really great chemistry. Jack Dylan Grazer is like the star. I mean, they're all good, but he really stands out because, like you said, his character and the way he performs, it's very relatable. He's very fast-paced with the way he delivers his lines. That makes me think that a lot of the times it's improv. I don't know. But Jack Dylan Grazer, if you're watching this, please never change. And Lucy, I love seeing Lucy and Helen in this and being mean. I was like, yes, give them more villain roles because they don't usually get to have those as often. So it's really a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. It was a good time. Definitely bigger. I would have liked a little bit less of the exposition stuff, and I felt like we spent a lot of the times waiting for things to happen. Like you were talking about how kind of things happen out of convenience. I found there's a few scenes that was just like it could be the villain or the heroes just waiting.
Yeah. Oh.
Like in that moment, I was like, for it to happen, I'm like, you wouldn't wait. Like if you are controlling the magic of chaos, or you are the person with the power of Shazam, like you wouldn't wait. You would just go and do it. And we sat there for like a second, and we waited until the other person has the advantage.
There was a couple moments to where there was a ha, I'm now going to stand here and monologue and talk until the bad guy gets up and hits me again, and I'm kind of like. No. Finish them.
So those are our non-spoiler thoughts for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. If you want to check out our spoiler-filled reviews, those will be up a couple days later on our Patreon because we don't want to release it right away when people haven't had enough time to see the film. So again, if you're a Patreon supporter, that will be available this weekend. And of course, let us know your thoughts. Keep a non-spoiler, please, for the people who haven't had the time to go and experience this movie in theaters yet. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have to put spoilers, please give a nice spoiler warning in the text, and so people can know to not expand your comment. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.